Annalise, do you have anything from technical?
I don't think so. I just started recording, so should be good to go.
Okay, DJ, it's all yours.
All righty, so we're on the last day, I guess, say the home stretch and everything. So today we're going to finish dealing with Wireshark. But today, more or less, going to look at Wireshark's ability to capture, I guess you say, malicious activity that's going on wire and everything. So today, since we didn't get a chance to look at it yesterday, just show you in map because you're in the workshop and the workshop project is going to be based on that. So just look at that real quick. Not really much, nothing to it. The main part with it is basically the commands, but inside of this zip file here, got some practice commands, some commands that you could basically use. So that's nothing that you have to remember or anything like that. So we'll start off with that. Pretty much um, have you go ahead and do um, Lab 15, so we can basically get that out the way and everything. And then after Lab 15, we'll take a break, and then we'll do the demo. I do the demo of a man-in-the-middle attack, and basically just producing traffic. And then I do one with some pre-made PCAPs or captures, basically just walk through the analysis as far as that is concerned. So I got a document and everything. I haven't dropped it in here, but I'll give you the document so you can kind of, if you want to do a miss and match or whatever, as far as the questions and stuff that are posed. For that particular lab, I'm on well, that particular demo. I mean, I normally use that for my students and everything when we're using Wireshark for analysis and everything. So for the most part, if you want to look at it, just so you can follow along with me, but you'll see my screen anyway and everything. So if you want to print it out and be watching my screen and everything, I will drop it in Moodle so you can be able to do that. So we'll do that, and that should basically take us to lunch. So to this morning will be Nmap, quick little show and tell as far as Nmap. Then we'll just go ahead and just have you guys do the lab 15, and then demos for us in the middle, and then demo as far as analysis, and basically it's analysis of a man in the middle or spoof art poisoning type of attack. So we'll do that. And like I said, that should take us until lunch. And then after we get done with lunch, then we'll basically go over on the project. For the most part, you guys just be working as teams. Like I said, it's 6 of you all. So more than likely what I do, I guess I'll just pull up let's see if I have it up. Let me find it. So we could just see what the teams are going to basically be. Let's pull this up here. So basically, Adam, Andrew, David, Kevin, Eggert, Thomas. So basically, y'all will be scanning each other's computers. And like I said, you'll see in the directions as far as what you're going to do. It's not nothing too extravagant. It's just the thing just for you can see what a scan looks like in real time. I'll leave it up to you to choose. Matter of fact, I could pull this up for you right now. Basically, you'll have this sheet here and this sheet here. This is in the zip folder. So this is probably the best sheet to use because it gives you an explanation of what the scan means or what it's actually doing. So for you, when you're trying to guess which scan, you probably can look at this to kind of help you try to guess or figure what scan is actually being ran. So basically your partner would choose whatever 3 scans that he chooses, decide to choose whatever, and then you'll look at that scan and look at the description of what that scan does and try to guess what it is. So you won't fail or anything by not getting the right answer. Just more or less just do more of a teamwork type of activity as far as trying to guess what's what. So that would basically, but like I said, this is in Moodle already. So you'll do those. Of course, you'll be using your machines to basically do that, but that'll be after lunch. So you don't necessarily need this here. So let me minimize this. And basically I'm logged into our remote utilities computers, so your PCs that you have. And all I want you to see is that Nmap can be ran in two different ways. Um, if you never used Nmap before, just starting to get started to use Nmap, then of course you want to go with the GUI route. And the good thing, and the reason I put this command in here, and let me go ahead and just choose this too. The reason I put this command in here because as you see, it'll give you the command on both sides. So you basically, for the most part, you can come in here, it'll give you different scans. These are like the most likely scans that you probably want to use and everything. So you could choose any one of them if you want this way. The good thing is that it will give you the command. So if you want to run it in the command line, you could basically do that. As you get more and more, I guess I would say using Nmap, it has a scripting engine and everything. And I believe I have those commands on this sheet also. Let me just make sure if I think I do. Yep, I do. So that's on there also. So if for the command line, I just pull this up so you can see it. So basically you have different scripts and stuff. So they have a scripting engine so you can create your own. They have some built-in ones also that you can basically use. Like I said, you could use the help um, menu or help menu to kind of figure out which one that you want to use, but they do have some pre-built ones, or you could just make your own. That's why I just saying script, and then so you could choose which one that you want to do. So definitely you want to eventually get to the point where you are using the command line, but I would say starting out, you want to basically start using what they call ZenMap, which is the GUI version of this and everything. And then you pretty much, like I said, if you look at the help and everything, just like we looked at with with T-Shark and dump cap. I mean, just it gives you a help, means for what type of switches that you want to use and so on and so forth and everything. And once you put the command and stuff in there, I mean, it's fairly easy to do. You just basically run it. It'll go through, scan, um, well, in this particular case, 20, going to go through and see if you have any open ports, so on and so forth. Some scans that you do will basically be for specific things. Like for instance, I know we was talking about a little bit earlier as far as um, sometimes, you'll block ICMP and stuff like that. And we normally use ICMP to try to find live hosts on a network. Well, you can use Nmap to still find live hosts on a network by doing, and then this particular one here, going through all different types of scans as you saw here. See, here's doing a OS scan. So normally we say an OS scan, basically you hear sometimes called fingerprinting or whatever. And what that does for the attacker or for you or for me is basically let me know what type of operating system, as you see right here, that's being used. This is great for you as far as, especially when you're looking at um, um, like Cisco machines and stuff like that. Because sometimes when people, especially with Cisco, with networks, with routers and switches, once you set it up and it works, majority of the time people don't really pay attention to updating that iOS version. And so if I run this against, say your gateway as a Cisco router, and I see that you're still using version 14 or version 12 and everything, then I could just go to the internet, see what vulnerabilities that particular, or even exploits for that matter, that particular version has, and then I can um, basically try to exploit your machine. So it gives you a lot of information as far as in this particular case, because I'm on the same network, it was only really one hop and everything. But this right here is basically what, let me go back up. It's basically the aggressive scan and everything. So it goes through a lot here. If you are the, like I said, a white hat, or you just try to check your own environment, this is all right to do, because for the most part, you're not trying to hide yourself or anything like that. So it's no big deal. And the reason why I say that is because this is very noisy. I mean, if you run this against somebody's computer and they got, say, Wireshark or even Snort or whatever basically running, and they're basically scanning or they're sniffing their network to see if anybody scanning or doing anything on their network, this is going to make a lot of noise. And what I mean by a lot of noise is that when you bring up Wireshark and you see a lot of red and black and all that other type of stuff like that, this comes up, and then all of a sudden you start to see black, red, 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 especially with your TCP Connect type of scans. you start to see that jump up your Christmas tree scan or Christmas scans. That you'll see, like you just saw that black packet come up. You'll see that just a whole bunch of that just popping up on your sniffer, and basically we just call that noisy. So me, if I'm watching that, if I'm coming back to do a type of investigation, trying to see what's going on, that's a red light for me there, because that's not normal. Like we were saying before, throughout these 3 days, you shouldn't see a lot of red and black in your trace file. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's malicious, but it definitely is. My bit defender is telling me I got some stuff going on my network. No biggie. Make sure it don't block it. I don't want to block it. Okay, so hopefully I'm going to cut my bit defender off so that don't stop us from doing stuff. Okay, so that kind of threw me off. Okay, but anyway, the thing is that it makes a lot of noise. That's the thing. So you see a lot of red and black going on in your environment. Basically, that's at the very least is bad. Now, it could be malicious in the sense somebody's actually scanning your network, or it means that, I mean, you have a lot of problems in your network in a sense, whereas you dropping packets somewhere, connections are basically starting and abruptly disconnecting. Your thing is to basically try to see and figure out why. One of the things I teach my students is that uh, everything is wrong. The sky is falling, nothing is right. So you just come in with basically the mindset of suspicion. And until you are proven otherwise, it's bad and everything. And I mean, I kind of take that that I guess you could say that particular view and everything, simply because of the fact it keeps you from letting your guard down. Because as soon as you start to think that you're basically good and ready to go, then that's what basically when you get attacked. So one of the things I want to show you here, and kind of want to explain as far as this particular syntax here. As you see, this is of course the command. This right here is the time. So how quickly? So I think it basically goes up to 5. So you could do time up to 5. So the higher the number, the faster it's going to basically try to run. So it's just going to basically just hit the network or the host or whoever it's trying to hit. Is just going to basically it's going to bombard it with packets basically. The lower the number, basically, the slower it goes. So instead of just hitting it, it'll send a packet, wait a little bit, then it'll send another packet, and wait a little bit. And then it'll basically, and what that's supposed to do is that because so much traffic is actually going on your network, you won't, it's harder for the analyst to basically catch it. So unless you, like I said, if you basically say looking at Wireshark and you pretty skilled as far as using different type of filters and everything, it's going to be a little harder for you to catch it. And because of us just being humans, we're more creatures of habit. If I don't have a reason to look for something, that's a very good chance I'm not going to look at it. And I think I mentioned earlier in the week that for the most part, when you start to really use Wireshark, it's normally going to be in a reactionary type of moment, in the sense whereas something happened and then you're going to go back and look to see what happened. Hopefully you have other things in place as far as IDPS in your environment that'll basically send you an alert, whether it be snort, if you got security on you running your environment, whatever type of network security money you have in your network, that's normally going to basically be your detection. That's going to tell you something happened. And then, of course, when you start your investigation, of course, if you got any type of sniffing going on, whether it be Wireshark, TCP dump, T-Shark, dump cap, wherever it may be, you're going to basically get that capture or trace. And then normal practice is basically run it in Wireshark because of the GUI interface, just easier to see. If you have security on, you can pivot from that particular alert. And our next Geek track that we have will basically be on security onion, be network security monitoring. So, but if you're using security onion, you can right click on that alert and you can choose Wireshark, what they call pivoting. You can go to Wireshark and see basically what that alert, what happened, what packet that alert had came up, and then you can start drilling down to basically to see what happened and everything. So that's the point of this particular switch here, is to basically Like I said, if you the rat, the white hat, you just coming in, you just trying to check your network, no big deal. You want this scan to run as fast as possible. Of course, if it's low, it's going to run slow. You're going to wait a long time for it to basically go through. All depending on what hat you're wearing, which setting of value you're going to put here. Then A, of course, is basically just telling you it's just the aggressive scan. For the most part, you could kind of look at it saying all, also in the sense where it's basically going to go through your most likely scans that you basically want to run. So it's going to go through all of those. The dash V is just basically verbose, basically letting you know how it's going to give you information here. So it's like some of the stuff that you see in here, like I was looking at, like the time. Okay, I think I got a chat. Hold on. Can you explain the components? Okay, that's what I'm doing now. ATP. Well, Wireshark, just to answer your question, Mike, Wireshark is not necessarily an IDS, or they don't necessarily have any IDS capabilities. It can help your IDS, or it could be a part of, as far as your IDS, like I said, for instance, Snort. Snort does has a sniffing function. So it can sniff out packets and everything for you, and Snort will give you an alert or block whatever. And because if you have the sniffing function on, you could take the package that it captured and then turn around and do your investigation or do your analysis through Wireshark. So Wireshark in and of itself, it does not have any IDS, IPS capabilities, but it complement your IDS, IPS devices. All right. Okay, good.
You see, I was gonna ask that question as well. Because I was thinking, my question was what would Wireshark be a primary tool or a secondary tool?
It'd be I would say more secondary,
Okay.
because of the fact normally Wireshark, and just to be honest with you, Wireshark is really, I guess you would say realistically, is really your analysis tool. You normally won't have Wireshark running really at all. Like I said, normally that is TCP dump. And the
Mm-hmm.
good thing, the reason why you want to learn Wireshark is because after you create your capture from TCP dump, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to do your analysis through Wireshark. In
Gotcha.
our course, I think we've been using Wireshark because as far as the skill that you're going to grab, it doesn't matter. A PCAP is a PCAP. It don't matter if you got it through Wireshark, Snort, TCP dump, or whatever, it's going to still read the same. So it's more of a secondary um, application, because at the end of the day, all it's doing is sniffing traffic. It ain't telling you anything unless you just sitting there and watching packets go through. And if you have that type of patience, kudos to you, just to sit there and just watch packets go through. But that just normally don't happen. There's normally something else, like I said, some type of IDS. Like I said, if you have some type of SIM in place, you have some type of network security monitor, whether it be Security Onion is an open source um, tool that you can basically use, but they have other security monitoring tools that are basically out there that you can use and everything. But um, those tools will give you um, what you're looking for. So as far as what I would recommend, basically depends on the vendor you use. If you're using Cisco, of course, Cisco has the firepower.
That's what we use.
So basically you have your your UTM, your Unified Threat Management. So with that particular package, it has its own um, IPS capabilities. And really, honest to the truth, Cisco pretty much bought out the company that maintained Snort. So, I mean, my theory would be that behind the scenes of their particular product, you got Snort basically running anyway. So for the most part, it depends on your vendor. Palo Alto, they have their own IDS. Pretty much any firewall that you buy, most firewall vendors have basically next gen. And your next gen capabilities normally come with some type of malware protection. Of course, it comes with the IDS or IDPS, because right now, I mean, your devices does both duties. They do the detection and they do the prevention. So basically the term now is more or less IDPS because it's going to be one system together. Some parts, depending on where you basically place your stuff, is going to be just detecting where you have basically in a sniffer. And then some, depending on where you put it, if you put it inline, it's going to basically be blocking packets where basically you just call it IPS. As far as the device itself, the device is going to be the same. And just using Snort as an example because it's open source, Snort is Snort. You could be using Snort as an IPS, you could be using Snort as an IDS, or you could be using it the same thing at the same time. It all depends on the signatures or the purpose that you decide that you want to use it for. So to answer your question, Mike, it really depends on your vendor and if they provide those capabilities. Like I said, if you're using Cisco, that's stay with Cisco. You got the ASA, you want the ASA with the X thing. So you got a 5515, you want the 5515X. It may not come with the firepower license, but you can always buy it at a nominal fee and everything. And then it'll just basically unlock those features on your device. And then from there, you can basically go from there. Cisco has Talos. Also, basically, that's all under the Cisco umbrella, as far as that's concerned. I'm more or less, honest to tell you the truth, my students ask me all the time, what is best, whatever. To me, there's no best. Everybody's doing basically the same thing. Whoever got the newest thing that's out, that's the best. So whoever vendor just put out something new, they got the best thing at that particular time because they are the most up to date. But other than that, stick with your vendor. And that's basically another, you got two schools of thoughts as far as that is concerned too. In one hand, people say stick with your vendor, have them the same across the board and everything because of the fact training. I mean, if your staff basically does Cisco stuff, then they could be better at setting up Cisco stuff. And then some people say get a mixed bag because of the fact, and the thought behind that is because if Cisco have problems and somebody figure out a way to break Cisco, then you got you got a problem across the board. And my thing is all depending on which one that you agree with in the sense, whereas if you do, the better my people are, my staff are, the better they're going to be able to protect me. So me, I more or less like to say, if I have a vendor, my school of thought is more or less stay with my vendor. So if I got Cisco stuff, my stuff is Cisco across the board. Although I do understand the thought process if you have different things, so that way if an attacker try to attack your environment, they have to learn the different components that you have in your environment. So, but the only problem is with that is that now your staff has to know all those products also, because if they don't know all of them, you may have devices in your environment, whereas it's not set up as securely as it should be. So at the end of the day, you still end up being attacked. So I guess to me, it's more or less, what do you trust more? Do you trust the equipment or you trust your people? And at the end of the day, a machine can't beat a human, no matter what, how smart we try to make them. They're never going to basically be as smart as us, because we basically can more or less think on the fly. We can see things and make a more intelligent decision, whereas the machine is only going to make the decision based on its programming. So for the most part, that's the reason why I'm more or less, if I'm a Cisco shop, I'm going to stick to Cisco as much as I possibly can. Although if there's another product that's better or basically provides something that say Cisco don't, or provide something that Cisco don't provide as well, then of course I go that route. In our environment, we have Cisco ASA and we have the Palo Alto. So we got two different firewalls in our environment. And just for the most part, as far as dealing with Palo Alto, they just have an easier user interface to basically deal with. But our ASA, not to basically talk about our environment, but our ASA is in our inner parts of our network. And then Palo Alto is basically take care of the in and out, the egress and egress as far as the internet is concerned. So our students and stuff, labs and everything like that, basically have the Palo Alto firewalls, basically really for the most part protecting them. So we do have a mixed bag in our environment and everything, but really for the most part, we're Cisco, and other than that, we're basically Palo Alto. And then we got Barracuda as far as our web application and everything, but we don't have just something different for it. We don't have like Cisco routers, Juniper switches, Palo Alto firewalls, something to get across our network, because at the end of the day, now I got to learn each one of those things. And then not only that, I have to know how those things will even connect to my different type of devices. So all in all, for the most part, my long answer to your question, Mike, is just basically depends on the vendor that you're basically using, and just think along the lines of what your staff is basically trained on, what they're skilled on, or what's the learning curve for the technology that you are planning on bringing in.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks.
So as far as this right here, so like I said, verbose V, you can have V, the regular V, you got very verbose, so VV, and basically the more V's that you have, of course, is going to give you more information here and everything. So if I didn't do a V, then I just would have just got the minimum amount of information. I would say best practice is probably always do the V, because just going to give you more information. So definitely, if you are an attacker, you definitely want as much as you possibly can, because the more crumbs you have, the better it will be for you to try to figure out what to do inside someone's environment. But it's also important for you too, because you could kind of gives you a better way to understanding what's, like, for instance, we saw down here as far as Windows and everything right here. So if I'm looking at this or whatever, and just say I'm not a Windows shop, I'll just have Macs or whatever, this can be a red flag for me. Now the thing is it'll tell you here whether or not it's true or not. So it'll tell you if it's just guessing. It'll tell you what the how confident it is that this is the actual operating system, which is at 89%, which is basically none of these are it, because that's a Windows 10 machine. But for the most part, it will at the very least put you in the RAM of where you're supposed to be at. So basically, if it's a Windows machine, it may not give you the right version of Windows, but it's going to definitely tell you if it's Windows, it's going to tell you if it's Linux, so on and so forth, or it just tell you that it's basically unknown. Now you will basically, as the analyst or whatever, have to look at different things to kind of prove this and everything. But for the most part, it will, like I said, OS fingerprint or fingerprint, basically what's going on. And basically right here is giving me a MAC address. So this right here is a red flag for me, or me as an attacker said, okay, well, this is a virtual machine. So this particular scan gives you some breadcrumbs and everything. And then after that, you can either put the IP address, you can put the whole network and everything here. So if I want to scan the network in general, so I can basically just put 0, and then I can do a /24 or whatever your subnet or whatever it is, that I can basically run it through. Hopefully my Bitdefender don't block me. I should have got on my other network, but so it's basically going through. Let me I'm gonna cut. Hopefully it don't block me. I don't care if it block it come to my machine, but I do want to run on your machines. But it's going through this whole network, and right now I'm on the network that this scan is going on. So that's why you keep seeing that alert come up. I normally like to just, yeah, it's y'all can still see me, right?
Mhm.
Okay, good. I thought it probably kicked me off. So basically it's going through, checking all the machines. I think on this network here, I have 10 Windows 10, I have 10 GNS3, and I have a DC server on here. And then of course my computer is on here now. So it's going to go through and basically tell you how many hosts that it finds. So it's going to go through, do that same type of scan. Now here, of course, if you want to do that scan, I could go back over here as far as the GUI. I can go back to intent scan. So it's going to give us the same, command that we looked at before. And then I could just choose the network. And then it's going to run the same thing, but just in the GUI. And I'll let that run through. So it gives a lot of information. It'll let you know, so all these right here. So it went through the whole network. So I don't have anything that's above 20, I think 25 or whatever. I think you guys have the last, let me see, I'm gonna bring up my lab thing with you guys. Oh no, I think I have it on my spreadsheet. So let me go to my files, Excel, and my last IP address on this network is 28. So I have course 1 to basically to 28. So anything after, but it's still going to go and look. And the good thing about this is that, I mean, this is a quick scan for me to do. You can have ICMP blocked or whatever. I think most of these machines, not these machines, but the ones that it's actually catching, you do have the firewall on, and by default, the firewall normally block ICMP packets. So I'm still can find these machines that's basically on the network, um, whether you got ICMP blocking it or not. So it's still going to go through. Find that this is one of you all's machines right here. 22 is one of your machines. So the thing is, it's going to go through. It doesn't matter. 21. So these are all the machines that we've been using this week. 21, 24, all the way up to 28 is the machines that we have in here. Somebody had a question? Oh, I thought I heard somebody say something. So it's basically going to go through. Now, of course, it's going to take a while, and this is because it's basically try to scan all 254 IP addresses. So it's still going through the same thing that I did for that one for the 20 something ones that it found. So it's going through everything. So thing is, like I said, if you are an attacker or you basically the network or system admin, you want this, it goes up to 5. You can go ahead, 5 is the fastest one. You can have nothing or you can have put 1, but basically go as slow. Just think along the lines that you go slow, it's going to take forever. As you can see, this is taking a little bit longer than what we was doing before, but just want you to see the 2 ways to kind of do it. Now, what I like to tell my students to do is, just like you see me doing here, create the scan here and then come over here and type it in over here, because you want to get used as much as you possibly can to get used to the command version of it. But the bright side is for us, I'm gonna go ahead and stop this scan here.
So on your Zen map, when you selected intent scan, was that already pre-populated, that command?
Yes, it'll populate it for you. So if you come here, it'll change. See how I changed it there? So whichever one that you want to choose, it'll give you, and these like your most likely use scans that you'll use. This, of course, by no means is your like you see is the profile. These are not everything that you can run. You don't necessarily have to even use this. You could type in your own command here if you want to. You can do commands in either or. You can type it here, you can put it here. These right here are just the normal ones that you probably would use. Like I said, most of the time with my students, these are ones they try to choose and everything. And I just try to tell them not to just do that, because one, this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 scans here. So this is not by no means going to give you everything that you want to, this is by no means going to give you everything that you want. Now this right here is just basically going to give you the slow, we'll give you a comprehensive scan, going to go through, and as you see, very long. So my thing is you can get very in this, and it is using the script and everything for it. So, but as far as creating your own scripts and everything like that, it's going to be best to go with the command line. So start out with this, even when you're doing your project today, start out with this. But like I said, pay attention to the command here and everything, so you can kind of just, I guess you could say, practice both ways and everything, because eventually as you start to do more and more port scans or scanning of your network or any network, you're going to more or less going to want to do it this way right here, as opposed to using the GUI. Now the bright side to use of the GUI is that it does give you like a map. And let me just choose a more simpler. Let me just use a simple scan in this particular case here. Let's do a quick scan. And we'll do that here. So do a quick scan and then I'll scan it here. So it'll still go through. I might get a pop-up again, but it'll go through. And the great thing about it is it'll give you like the host, it'll show the host that it comes up. I don't care for the topology that it has come up here, but it will give you like machines and stuff and everything over here. It'll give you the host once it start to find hosts and everything. But as you see here, so you get like information and stuff as far as the host is concerned. Everything. So this, I mean, it does has its advantage and everything. All depends on what you're looking for, what is best. So this is the reason why I don't like it and everything. But you could kind of expand this out and everything. I mean, because this still don't necessarily tell me nothing here at all. So, I mean, I don't care for the little topology, but you can kind of choose different things. You can basically come here, look at different, if you want to look at the addresses, if you want to bring out the gap, you want to zoom it out. Just do this. And I said, this is the reason why I really don't necessarily like it. It just don't, I mean, it just don't, to me, it just don't play too well for me. I don't care for it too much, but you can zoom it out and everything and kind of see. And for the most part, it's not inaccurate because all these guys are on a flat network. They're not on, it's not like one of these machines is on another router switch, anything like that. So I mean, it's not inaccurate. I just don't necessarily like it because, like I said, just dealing with it. But if you just want to give a graphical view of your network, what hosts and stuff that are basically on your network, I mean, the Zip map is definitely the better way to go and everything, but it gives you pretty much this information and pretty much give you the information that you have, that you saw here. I closed it up, but the information that you saw in your command line is giving you that here. And on my, and this is not good here, but I got port 80, so I definitely got to see why. And it's probably something that I got open. I don't necessarily want my port 80 open on my router, but this is my router here. This is my I don't care about router, so it don't necessarily matter. This is I don't care about network here, so I do practicing and stuff like that on this network. There's no big deal, but I just wanted to see what this is. Just part of my for me to do my when you log into the router, that's part of why that's open and everything, but that's bad because that should be 443 and everything. But so even me doing this with you guys, I mean, this is a good scan for you to basically see, and you want to look to see what ports are basically open. Some ports are just there just simply because of the fact it's part, like for instance, domain for DNS. I mean, you got to have the domain services on if you want to do any type of name resolution. Like I said, I would say my great guess will be that this is for me to log into my router. So this may not be that big of a deal, no more than the fact that as long as nobody can reach my router, because it's on the private side, a firewall is basically blocking anybody from getting to it. But if someone happens to basically get onto my network and I'm logging into my router, they can see my credentials. So this is bad right here. I definitely need to change this. This should be 443. And then the rest of this stuff is just like you got your UPnP for plug and play, universal plug and play. So these are things that's probably just default just for your router to do what it basically need to do or give the features that you're looking for. But the good thing is, like I said, it goes through, I had to see, that's one of my printers there. And same thing with that. That's more or less because it has a network interface, but that shouldn't be on. You don't want your port 80 stuff on. It's not that big a deal on this network for me. I mean, like I said, it's a private network. Nobody should not be able to get to it from the internet, so it's not that big of a deal. But just like I said, you kind of want to stay away from the plain text protocols and everything. But there's a printer here, so it basically kind of helps you out as far as trying to tell you what's on your network. This one here has so you could do SSH. This is the GNS3, one of the GNS3 VMs here. So that's a printer GNS3. So for the most part, I just want you to just see that you can see what ports that are open, and this is good for hardening because if you see, like I'm seeing here, I may not unless I'm running a web server and if I am running a web server, I should want it to be 443. There's really no reason for port 80 to be open on really any machine. And as you see in my environment, basically I have that open on pretty much on all of the machines. Now this is starting to get into like dealing with y'all machines. 445, that's a very dangerous port if you have it in the DMZ. Inside this port is fine because Microsoft does its sharing on this particular port here. So the thing is, some ports you don't mind being open depending on where it is at, where it's at in your environment. This port is bad to be open in the DMZ, fine inside. and everything. So for me, I pretty much know my network and everything. So I know some of these things. I don't necessarily care that they're open or not. These right here, this port right here, this is one of you guys. This is the port that you're using the remote into this machine. So this machine is pretty hard because that's the only port that's open on that particular machine. So these machines down here, this machine here is this 30. I don't know what machine that is. I have to look to see what machine that is, but it basically doing some type of web services because it got 480 and 443. I'll look to see what that is. That's probably just a web application that is more like you're probably seeing. They're just running a web application. Got to see there. No port is open on this particular host here. And then the rest of these, like I said, these are machines that you guys are on. So they fairly hardened. That's the only port that's open. I have to see what this is. This is part of my domain controller here. That's probably why you got the Coboros, the DNS. More than likely, this is the DC I was telling you about. That's this machine here. And I could just pretty much tell it just by the ports that are open. And then this started to get into my GMIS 3 machines here. So some of them are going to have port 22, so on and so forth. So for the most part, I just wanted you to see that it does show you what ports that you have open. So this basically make it easy for you to do two things. One, close them if they shouldn't be open. But also when you do want Wireshark, they should kind of match up as far as somebody doing some type of scan on your computer, they will see these particular ports open also. And then of course, it lets you see what services are running inside your environment and which computer that's running it. So gives you a lot of information. So that is, I mean, and that will give you quick information. So there's I guess you say a use case or an advantage to using the GUI. And even though it's not to say that you can't see this stuff in command line, it's just, as you see, just give you a quicker view of seeing it. So basically, for the most part, depending on what you're trying to do, what your purpose and everything is, what type of scans that you're trying to do. If the default scans are fine, then hey, no problem. Use ZenMap. If you want to do something a little bit more customized, the command prompt is going to basically be your best bet. But no matter which way that you choose, especially if you go the GUI route, pay attention to the command that you have here. So because that's the command that you can use for the command line. And like I said, as far as learning how to use Nmap, that's just going to help shorten your learning curve. So that's pretty really, I mean, it's not that much to it as far as this tool is concerned. It does have some other things or features that you can do or use with it. If you want to do like a remote shell or whatever, you definitely use the command prompt as far as that is concerned. Basically like NCAT or NetCat. NCAT is the Nmap version of NetCat, something that you can use if you want to throw a reverse shell, you want to set up a backdoor on somebody else's computer. You can do that, but you have to do that on the command prompt. So it got other features that you can do, but as far as the scope is for what we're trying to do in here, this is pretty much all you need to know for right now. And basically, and when you do your scans against each other, I do have in the directions basically look at it from both perspectives. The victim, of course, you want to be looking at the scans come across, but the attacker also look at the scans going across the wire, but also see what information that you are getting here, and then to see how they how similar they are and everything. And that's basically for the most part. It's basically, and this it give you closer to what you will see in the command prompt and everything. So like I said, definitely see why people would like to use this, go this route and everything, and it's fine. But for the most part, like I said, if you want that more, if you want to have a little bit more control and everything, you definitely want to go with command prompt. And just because I just caught it here, right here, where it says that it's filtered, basically that means it went through a firewall. It saw the ports and everything, but it couldn't get information, anything from it because there was a firewall or something that was basically there that had blocked it. Okay, let's look at the chat real quick. Okay, is there a way to shut down? Now, on open port, now, no, you won't do that through the GUI or as far as dealing with open and closing the ports. You would do that with your firewall. So if you see a port open over here, say for instance, say I'm not going to close it, but just say I'm looking at my IP address, see what IP address this is, so I can see which this computer is here. Let's just do a short IP config. So I am 18. All right, so let's look at 18 and see what ports 18 has. All right, so say for instance here, I'm not going to close it because these are Windows. These are window ports. So you don't. If I want to keep sharing, I can't close this port. These right here have more or less to do with my LDAP with these 2 ports here. But if you want to close these ports, you would have to go to your firewall. Yeah, go back. I want to go to this one here. And then you would just have to just come here, of course, but click on it. And then you just do your new rule and choose the port and do next and put whatever port that you see here. So bring this back up. So whatever ports that you see here. So for instance, say this computer was there in the DMZ. I don't want 445 open because 445 can be a port that I could use as a pivot point. And what I mean by that, what a lot of attackers would try to do in order to get into your inside network is this. If I scan your, say your web server, chances are you have it open for me to get to it because that is its purpose. You want people from the outside to basically get to this particular server. And the mistake a lot of times people will make with this is that say a service you have in your DMZ needs somebody to log on to that particular for that service. SharePoint is basically one of the best examples I can use for this. So say you have SharePoint in your environment, and SharePoint requires you to log in, but you need to log in with your Active Directory credentials. What people would do is they'll put that SharePoint server in the DMZ, and SharePoint by default, because it's sharing stuff, basically have 445 open. Me as an attacker, I see that. I know this port is my route into, I know that particular server has a connection. I know that server has a connection to the inside of your network. So what I can do is I could use this port and basically try to pivot into your environment, because that server has a connection to your environment. So I can use that server, infect it, put whatever on it, malware, whatever you want, whatever tool of choice, and then basically use that as my jump point or pivot point into your network. So and the reason why, because this uses SMB. SMB is not a safe protocol. Right now it's version 3. Version 3 is supposed to be to put some extra security features and stuff on it, but still not what you call it. But if you don't have admin rights, nope, don't matter. Do not matter whatsoever. If I see this right here, I can run like Netcat or something like that, and I can just pivot right into your network, because this port, basically the service I'm more or less using this service. I guess that's the best way to look at it. So in a sense, I do have admin rights, because this service basically I have better than admin rights, actually, because this service has system rights. And that's become the problem like you have a lot with your printers and stuff. Your printer, for the most part, when it print, it basically have, I guess you could say network level, but system level access to your environment. So if I get to your printer and use your printer service or drivers or whatever as my launch point to get to wherever I want to. So if your server is basically trying to do anything inside of your environment, I can do the same thing your server can do. So you say like, what if your Microsoft, if it's hosted, the best thing to do, if you have it in the DMZ, what they'll do sometimes, like you have dual DNS service, or you'll have, like, for instance, you have a read-only. If you're trying to do authentication, you can have a read-only DC inside of your DMZ, where nothing basically can change from it. And then whatever server you have, like what they call like a split architecture. Whereas if you go with DNS, you have a split DNS. So you have a DNS that basically go talk to the DNS inside your environment, and your connection is only between those two. Any other communication between coming out your DMZ to your inside network will basically just get dropped. The only allowed communication that you will allow is that DNS server 53 or whatever you want, whatever port you're basically using inside to your inside network, whatever port it is. And that's the only allowed communication that you have. Everything inside the DMZ will only have the services that you want to have running in it. So for instance, unless you share and stuff inside your environment, there's no reason for you to have 445 open. If you just trying for them to come in, say for instance, this is a web server, you just want them to look at pages. Well, you ain't sharing anything. You just want them to come in and view. There's no reason for nothing other than 443 really at this point to basically be open. So if they need any type of name resolution or whatever stuff like that, you still have your DNS to kind of help do that. And that's more or less for you coming from the inside of your network and you trying to talk to something in the DMZ. But other than that, as far as name resolution and stuff is concerned, you have your DNS set inside of your DMZ, and the only communication from your DMZ environment to your inside environment is just those two machines. And like I said, it only should be DNS information. So your firewall will be set up whereas port 53 or UDP 53 is allowed, but only from that machine and that machine only. All other information, all other traffic from anywhere else basically would just automatically get rejected. So it basically just automatically just drop it. It won't allow no other information, nothing else from that machine. Even that machine, even if somebody happens to attack that machine, if they're not going on, and then you won't allow certain traffic. So you probably go more or less with the application level as far as if they're trying to do anything other than really all you're doing is just copying the A records or quad A records from your inside network. And like I said, and that's only if you're trying to basically have some type of name resolution between your inside network and your outside network. Or if you have a machine, whereas you're doing like, so you have somebody trying to remote to the inside of your network, and you trying to do some name resolution from the DMZ to the inside. That's the only time you want to do that. Now, me personally, I say nothing in my DMZ. I don't even care if it's the DNS. I don't want nothing touching. I want those two guys to basically, my firewall to be set up, whereas nothing from my DMZ talk to anything in my inside network. I'm just saying that you have a use case or you have a need for that, then you want to go with a more split architecture, with a more split type architecture, whereas whatever machine that needs to talk to the inside, you set it up whereas only that machine talk to the inside and only certain type of information talks to the inside of it. And you have some type of IDS or IPS. I'll have IPS and I have a firewall, because you got to think about your firewall. Your firewall is only looking for certain rules, and majority of the time on the transport layer. You want to have something on the application layer too, so that way if somebody try to do what they call DNS tunneling. So if we're going to keep with the DNS side, they try to tunnel through DNS to use whatever type of application. You want to have something in place that's going to sniff out that type of traffic and then drop it. And then you say with two-factor authentication, that's just trying to log on to the server. I mean, I don't, in this particular situation, on the example I'm giving to you, I'm not trying to log on to the server. I'm just trying to use, I'm just basically for the most part, just trying to use it for what it's basically asking for. Like for instance, if I'm trying to go to your website, I don't need to log into your website. If you say port 8 or 443, I go to your website. If whatever traffic, HTML, HTTP, HTTPS is basically allowed to talk to your server, it automatically serves up whatever servers that I'm basically looking for. And what attackers do is use whatever service that you are already allowing, and then they use that as which basically you could say tunneling. In this case, if I'm using HTTP, it'd be a HTTP tunnel. So if your computer is allowing, say, HTTP, HTTPS, I can craft malware, whatever, to send you traffic through HTTPS, and your machine basically just going to receive it. There's no log on for me to basically do that. So the two-factor authentication only comes in play when you are trying to log on to that server. So in this particular situation, that means absolutely nothing because you already allowing this. This is something you already serving up to me. I'm just more or less using that against you. And my thing is, as far as, like I said, your stuff that's in your DMZ, because these services are basically can be used for wherever, used for something that they basically weren't necessarily intended for, and you have that connected to your inside network, then I can use that, but I can get directly to your inside network, but I can use that machine that is connected to your network. I can use it as my bridge. I guess that's a better way to put it. I can use that as my bridge to basically get to you and everything. And as far as authentication and all that type of stuff, doesn't matter because it's already done. That server already is authorized to talk to the inside. Whatever service that I'm going to use is already authorized to go into that environment. So the hard part for me is finding your server, seeing what services that you are allowing, seeing what the vulnerabilities of that particular service. So basically, if it allows remote execution, so on and so forth, and everything, if it allows that, then everything that needs to be done is already done. I've done my hard part. All I have to do is just see what the vulnerabilities are. How can I exploit it? And then everything else, I'm just using the infrastructure and everything to my advantage. So two-factor wouldn't matter in that type of attack and everything. Did I answer your question, Mike?
Uh, yes, you did. I just got one additional question. So if you do have access to maybe port 443 or 445, and you RDP into my environment, I mean, in order for you to release the bloodhounds, you have to have some admin accounts, or else you just really having access to SharePoint.
Yeah. So now SharePoint, if you're going to use the SharePoint thing, yes, two-factor come into play because of the fact that I'm trying to log into SharePoint. But that's going this route and trying to go that. I'm trying to go through the application. That's what two-factor is going to come into play for me. So
Right.
yes, if you're trying to log into SharePoint from somewhere else, then yes, two-factor authentication would keep somebody from logging into your SharePoint environment. Yes, that'll work as far as that's concerned.
Right,
What I'm
but
saying is if you have SharePoint and SharePoint uses this particular port
445.
to 445 to
Mhm.
just say, and the thing is that if you are allowing files to be shared between your inside network to your SharePoint network, this is going to be a problem for you. And your problem don't have nothing to do with authentication. Your problem is that the protocol that uses this port is vulnerable.
Yeah.
So basically I can craft a packet, or someone can craft, I'm not saying me, but someone can craft a packet to um um for instance, just say like use like a net use command or whatever. If I try to find what type of shares or whatever, I can basically see, okay, well, SharePoint has X amount of shares, and that particular share is shared between the inside network and the SharePoint server. So where what I can do is that put in some malware on that share, and then it's just more or less a waiting game to somebody basically click on inside your network, and then I'm inside your network. If it's a backdoor, whatever, I can basically do that. That's simple, whatever, quickly thing to do. Or if I could get access to your server, not the application itself, but just the server and everything, say 443, if it allowed me to do some type of remote execution, I can run like a netcat or whatever and do more or less a reverse shell and basically use that same protocol as far as sharing is concerned, and then try to bring up a shell or command prompt inside of your network. I had a command. I have to look for it. But I had a command for where you could basically be able to do that. I have a command because when I went through my SANS training for my incident handling training, they showed us how you can basically do that and everything. Basically using 445. They try to give us another port just as an example, but thinking on a 445 because 445 is going to allow you to do that. It don't have anything to do with the application. You got to think this is happening on layer 4. So this is layer 4 action. So we're not even getting to the point where we're doing authentication. So yes, straight up trying to log into SharePoint. Yes, you need this. You got to have some type of administration rights or some type of allowed some type of credential that allows you to log into that server, that application itself. Or if you're trying to log into the server, which hopefully you're not allowing nobody to log into the server itself, what you unless you're saying like you're doing RDP, but you don't even want to be doing that. You want to be using VPN for that. If you're trying to remote into the actual server, you want to use VPN, not necessarily RDP because it's vulnerable to attack and everything. As far as application, you are automatically allowing people to access that application. So since because you already allowing that, if I do have the credentials or find some way to get the credentials, then the application, yes, two-factor authentication will help because even if I have the username and password, that's going to be something else I'm going to have in order to really log into the environment. But going the route that I'm talking about, you basically bypassing all of this. I'm not even getting up to this level. I'm just using the service that this particular server is using as a means to pivot into your environment. And because you are allowing sharing traffic inside the DMZ and your inside network, I'm going to use that same pipeline to traverse my own information. And like I said, if you're sharing, that's just files. So files could be anything, exe, whatever, bad, whatever type of file. A file is a file. Now, of course, making it sound easier said than done. And of course, you should have things in place where nobody can just download exe. Your firewall should be basically blocking that as far as downloading. Nobody should be able to install anything exe inside of your environment. But for the most part, if somebody do say like a reverse shell or whatever, you should have your IDS or your IPS should be blocking that from happening. I'm just saying that if you're running this particular port, and I would say somebody smarter than me can definitely use this particular port because the service that uses this port is vulnerable. It has nothing to do with the port of this door or anything, the service that's using. So I can basically exploit SMB. And because you are allowing SMB traffic inside and outside of your network, I can send my packet as it is SMB traffic and no one basically be the wiser. It just basically just go through. So whatever I could basically be able to do from this machine to the inside of the network, somebody remotely can basically do it. All right. So I don't know what time we got. Okay, so it's 10 o'clock now. So for the most part, I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. So for the most part, just want to be careful as far as hardening and everything. I think it was Andrew was asking about shutting down the port. You want to shut down the port this way here. Or you can stop the service and everything. Normally, a service is tied to a port. I would say the best way to really do it is do it this way here. That way, you could be more specific and everything. Because say with someone with SMB, any of your LDAP type of ports, that because it's normally well, I like to use the SQL. I use the SQL ports. SQL, Microsoft SQL ports that they normally use is 1433, 1434. That doesn't necessarily mean that I have to use those ports for SQL SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server. I can use whatever port that I want to and everything. So the thing is if I shut down Microsoft SQL Server, doesn't mean that I'm shutting down 1433, 1434, because those servers may be using another port. So to be more direct, it'd be best to shut it down at the firewall because of the fact that I know I am not allowing 1433, 1434 traffic through. Now, of course, that can be shutting down your SQL Server services, but like I said, you want to shut that down. I'm assuming if you shut down that port, that's what you want to do anyway. So that's the best way to do it. But the point I want to make is that when you start a service, a lot of time that service, especially if it's using the network, it uses a certain port. Hopefully it's a registered port and everything. Like I said, Microsoft SQL Server, their registered port is 1433 and 1434 and everything. So when you start Microsoft SQL Server um, on your server, by default, those are the two ports that that service use. and everything. So if you want to stop them or whatever type of port, you want to basically close it. And for the most part, as you saw in my scan, most of your ports are closed anyway. So this shouldn't be much that you basically have to do and everything. These are basically just was open on their own. Now, why my machine and y'all machines doesn't have that? I may have installed something else on my computer that I don't have on you all's computer and everything. See, like this one here, basically have the have basically the same thing. Something else must be running on these. No, that's the DC. My bad. That's the DC there. And so these are y'all computers here. So y'all only have the port that y'all using the remote into this computer. But my computer that I'm using, I will assume I have some other stuff installed on here because it should be the same thing as you, not that one. I have some other stuff installed on here. I probably joined the domain. I don't know, don't remember. So that could be the reason why, because I'm getting LDAP traffic right here. That could be the reason for that. But good thing is that by default, for the most part, most of your ports are going to be closed by default. The only ports that are going to be open are the ports that you absolutely need for the services that you are running. But you want to check it just to be sure that that's actually the case, because somebody may have hacked you and maybe having a port. If you got something like a C2 or command and control type of like somebody basically made you a zombie and you just basically waiting for your bot herder to call on you for your for to give you issue commands. Well, that's going to be a listening port, and another good place that you could kind of look at that at. Let's just do this. Go here, go here. Let's go here. All right, but a good way for you to kind of see that, or a quick way to see that, what ports are listening on your computer. You can do NAOB. Spelled it wrong. That's that. All right, so basically anything. So these are my established connection, but these right here that's listening. Now some of these are just basically just my computer, no big deal, nothing. I'll say check it out, but for the most part, no big deal. This is just basically my computer on these ports is basically listening. What you care about is ports that's basically that's outside of your environment. Now, these can, of course, possibly be used against you, but for the most part, their connection is basically you more or less looping back to yourself. So for the most part, and it should be some correlation between what you see here and what you see here on here and everything, but your ports that are listening, those are potential backdoors. So for instance, say bad hacker guy or whatever, they may have a program here that's basically in the sense it'd be the destination, and it'll basically just say be listening. So say this is bad hacker guy, this is this application for the C2, the command and control server. He or she is not necessarily using me at this particular point, so I'm not going to have an established connection, but I'm going to be listening. So as soon as you get ready to execute whatever and everything, basically call me up, then this will become an established connection and everything. So listening ports, and one of the things I tell my students look for two things when you the best if you use SNETStat. We're gonna be looking at listening and established. Established means it's already happening. Listening means that it's looking for it. So right now, and this basically that. Let's just use this one right here. We just got 443, but just say that's probably not a good one there. And all these are basically established. Well, I guess just as an example here, just say here, this is my computer. We know this 443, so this got to be something that's legitimate. But let's say that it wasn't 443. It was something else, 2222 and everything. And it was basically listening. This particular computer here, my computer is waiting for this computer here to call on me or to establish a connection. And I'm listening on this particular port for this computer here. So that because it's not an established connection doesn't mean that it's good. And that means this could be a program that's basically, or like I said, could be a backdoor that's basically running on my computer that's waiting for somebody to establish a connection. Whether it be Telnet, if you got Telnet open and running, whatever it may be. telling whether or not you have an established connection. Or let's say I got had a web server running on my computer and I'm just sitting there, it'll be listening for somebody to make a connection. And then they'll show all the connections basically that's there. So listening is basically, when you're in a listening state, you're just basically waiting for a connection to be made. Of course, established is meaning that the connection has been made and everything. So listening is bad. And looking at this computer here, I don't have nothing on here that's nefarious. I mean, any listening that I have is really basically looped back to me. So I really don't have anything to really worry about too much on here, because nothing on here is either not something that I don't. So the 0, that's still just me, and then there's somebody inside my network here. So no biggie, no big deal as far as this right here is concerned. But what you can do is that you can make the correlation between one machine and the next. So if you see ports and stuff that's open, chances are they be either established or they be established connections, or they're listening connections. And you should see that basically should be a correlation between your net stat and what you see on Nmap. I know we kind of went a whole lot deeper into that conversation that I had planned on, but that's fine. So like I said, we'll go ahead and let you go ahead and do your lab 15 and everything, but definitely use Nmap, definitely a good route to go to basically start learning how to do map scans. We're going to use this is to basically see how it looks on with Wireshark, and I could do just a quick little demo with that so you could just see it a little bit in Wireshark. Let's do this here, and let's go here, and I'm not going to do the whole network. We're just going to do the magic 20 again. I don't know who computer 20 is, but I can look and see. So that's good. Move this back over. And we just do an intent scan. So 20, that's fine. And we're just going to run it through. And you should start seeing a lot of traffic and stuff just popping up from me to it. All right, there we go. So it's running through its scans and everything. So when you start just seeing a bunch of them, just do this here. IP ADDR equal. I am 18. So it's 168. 1. This is 18. And then we're gonna do ADDR equal, and this is 20. Just to try to shrink it down a little bit. Yeah, do something wrong here. Oh, not that. Don't even need this. They spell it right. IP-ADDR. And okay, I got something must be wrong on here. Let's go back and let's do. And you know what? I ain't gotta do that. Let's use our skills that we went over in our lessons. And I want to look at IP, and I want to go with right here. This is the reason why I love conversations. You gotta sit there and remember how to exactly to do. What you call it? What did I do wrong? I thought that's what I put. Oh, I had put a space. That's why I did it. So, but this is what I want here. So for you guys, when you do your workshop project, just get your partner's IP address and just put this particular display filter in. So that way you don't see all the other noise. So let me copy this real quick and I'm gonna run it again so we can see it when it happens. Let me right click, let's copy. Let's close this quick without saving. And we're going to run Wireshark again. And we're going to go right here. And paste. Oh, you punk. Okay, well, I saw it the first time. Let's just do this. I thought it was going to keep it for me. It did not, so no problem. Equal 192.168.118. 18. So you want to put in your IP address, and we're going to do
First octet's wrong, Daedric.
do what now?
The first octet, you got 1992.
Okay. Good. IP ADDR equal 192.168.120. Okay. And that's basically what you want. So far, no traffic between them two right now. So I'm gonna come back here. The scan had finished. And this, like I said, just gonna make it easier for you to just see the traffic that's coming through. Let me move this over here. I just run the scan again. So now you'll see the traffic basically coming through. So what you want to do is, as it go through, just try to guess what scan that they basically trying to use. So that's what you want to do for the end of workshop project. For lab 15, it's going to be something different, but just wanted to just show you that before we actually go into doing that particular lab. So right now, lab 15 is going to, let me go to workshop, let me go to Moodle, close this, there's my Moodle. Okay, so right now, go to lab, go back to Moodle, and we drop it in, what you call it, I don't know, you should know the account URL by now, but just in case you don't, we'll go ahead and just drop it in the chat. One, paste. All right, so go back to Moodle and go to do lab 15. For lab 15, you're going to use two pre-made captures. Just go to that share that we created earlier in the week to get those captures. So it's going to ask you to open them up. If you follow directions as is, it's going to tell you to open. You're not going to necessarily see it unless you navigate to that particular share. So the best thing to do is go to that share, download it to your desktop or wherever is quicker for you to find it, and then do your analysis on that. And I just open up so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. And let's pull this up. So here, let me make this a little bit bigger. So basically, like I said, it's going to tell you to open up this particular scan. Of course, it's not going to be there unless you navigate to it. So just download it, put it on your desktop somewhere you can easily find it. And then, of course, you could just go through the scans, go through your analysis that way. So it is 10:15. We're pretty close to break. So we'll do, say, 10:45. We'll come back. So that's going to still do your break and this lab. So you could do the break first and then do the lab, or you could do the lab and then take the break. But 10:45, we will pick it back up.
So you say, are you going to drop the files in the chair, right? In the chair folder in Max Mean Database chair?
The what? Yeah, it should be in there. It should be already in there. Let me look to see. I thought I had
What is
dropped
it?
them.
ARP scan. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, you see them now?
ARP scan and port scan. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, I'm gonna stop the share.
Did you guys back or you still on break?
We're doing break till 10:45. We
Gotcha.
did doing
Okay.
the break in the lab, so basically
Gotcha.
10 minutes for
Okay.
the break, 10 minutes for the lab.
All right.
Yeah, 20.
10:45. I'll bridge back in there.
Yeah,
All
10:45.
right.
Yeah.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
Thanks. All right.
All right.
Everybody receiving me?
All right, guys, we're gonna get started back in about 3 minutes. Mike got something to put out when he get back, so we get started. We're gonna listen to his announcement, and then we're gonna get started with our demo. All right. So before we get started, Mike got something to put out.
I do. Thank you, Deidre. I'll be very quick. Um, Gentlemen, I just heard from Jonathan, my colleague here on the executive board, and the winner in Geek Track for the first time attendee is Thomas Gibson. Thomas from Clayton County, is that right? If you can unmute Thomas for a moment. Look like you're still muted there.
Yes,
Okay, well, congratulations to you. You're our first time attendee winner for Geek Track.
that's outstanding. Thanks.
Okay. And also, we have two winners here. We normally have a first time attendee winner in Geek Track, and we also have the Geek Track winner. And that particular person is Adam Jackson from Macon Bibb County. So, what they do is they pull the names and then they give me the results and I announce it into our portal.
Okay.
So, is Adam around today? Looks like his camera's off.
He was here, but he's probably haven't made it back yet.
Okay. With those, congratulations to both of you guys. Um, our first time attendee and our Geek Track winner.
All right.
You guys have any questions for me? Looks like Adam has his camera on now. Adam, if you could hear me, congratulations to you. You are our Geek Track winner. And you, along with Thomas Gibson, retrieve a $25 gift card. So we will get with, looks like Brett Lavender and Jason Brookings to get you guys information. Congratulations to you both.
Oh, okay, awesome.
All
Awesome.
right.
Congrats,
Right.
congrats.
Thank you. Thank you, DG. I'm gonna go back on hold now.
All right, no problem. Has Edgar, has you made it back yet? I see your camera still off. All right, we'll give him a few more minutes. See if he will get back. Just waiting on Edgar. Edgar, you back yet? Your camera's still off if you're back.
Okay. This Kali Linux. I have played around with it a little bit.
Bit.
Let me see. Have you ever heard of the online training tool Udemy?
Yeah, I heard of it. Yeah.
Let me see. So there the classes. All the classes on there are like from like $10 to $13. But there's let me see. There's one I purchased for like ethical hacking, I guess. And the trainer there uses basically a version of Kali Linux that he modified.
Okay.
Yeah, to basically help with like penetration testing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty good program, man. Basically all the tools that you can pretty much, especially you as far as starting out and everything, shoot. Everything you could possibly need as far as we call it. Now they even Offensive Security is the company that maintains this. They have a free PDF book that you can download that's basically take you through all of these tools as far as how to use each one of these tools in here.
Cool.
So you go to Offensive Security, you just browse on their net on their what you call it. Now Amazon sells the book too, but but you could download a free copy of the Kali book. So matter of fact, that book is based on their OSCP certification. That certification is basically really using Kali to penetration test.
Okay.
Everything. So that book they recommend that you use to prepare for that certifications. And like I said, you could download it for free.
From where again?
From Offensive Security. Let me just
Offensive Security.
pull up the site for you real quick. Offensive. I spelled it right. Security. And of course, this is where I got the VM that I'm using now. I got it from their site, but this is like one of their, I guess you say, flagship certification. They have other ones and everything, of course. But what they got there, I think I might need to be on the Kali site. No. Let's see, resources. Might not be this site here. Kali. I think it's gonna take me to the Kali site. Yeah, and documentation. Kali documentation. That's just the documentation there, but it's a PDF. Let me go to downloads. That's just for that. Here we go. Yeah, this book here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can read and download. Now you can buy one from Amazon, but I'm a paperless type of person, so I don't like to have hard copy of anything. I like to basically look at things electronically, whether it be my tablet, my computer. So this works fine for me. But if you like the physical copy, then you can buy from Amazon, but you can download it for free and everything. So, but offensive security, though, that's the company that maintains Cali. So, who better to learn from than them? So, all righty. So, just got my stuff set up and everything as far as now. This is just I got VMware workstation on my computer, on my laptop I have here. Just gonna do just a quick little demo as far as dealing with what a man in the middle attack and everything. Gonna have Wireshark running on both computers, but because of the way VMware works or whatever, these guys are sharing, I guess you could say, the same switch. I don't know how familiar you guys with VMware, but I just show this real quick. And that kind of lead me to what we was looking at the other day. I was sending the traffic on the other machine, even though I wasn't supposed to be sending traffic on the other machine. That's because they sharing the same switch. So basically what I'm doing, like for instance, this Ethernet 1.0 and basically Ethernet 0 over here, basically it's on the same, I guess you could call it a hub, but switch, whatever you want to call it, but they the same thing. So all traffic that goes across this particular goes across this link here, goes across all of my machines that is basically on that particular switch, which basically really is a hub. And you can know which hub that you're on by going to settings, and all of them by default VMware puts you on the NAT or VM8. So for all intents and purposes, I mean, you can look at this as being a switch, but it behaves like a hub, basically. So if my computers are in promiscuous mode, which is me running Wireshark, it is all traffic that goes between all three of these machines, I'm going to be able to see it. So that when we did the span port lab Monday, that was the reason why we was already seeing it. But in a real world environment, of course, if you're on a switch or whatever, you would not be able to see traffic for all computers unless you are on a hub, which basically, given our virtual environment, that's the way our network behaves. Or you have a span port, mirror port, or monitor port like we did in that particular lab. I just wanted you to kind of basically know that because I wasn't expecting that, and I like to find answers to things that come up. I was not going to let that live without because that was supposed to happen, but that is the reason why that happened, which is fine. It's a virtual environment. As long as you know what's supposed to happen, especially in a real world situation, you won't get that traffic. Or if you're not getting the traffic from the other machine and everything, you just want to span that port. So I'm saying that in a sense because you're going to see traffic. If I was to ping from Windows 10 to Windows 2000 to Server 2016, I'm gonna still see that traffic here because I'm in promiscuous mode. Same thing with these machines here.
But you use a system like Umbrella, I mean, or Cisco firewall, all the traffic is looking at that tools, because they are in the hub, So
yeah.
it's way easy to look at the traffic there. Because if you do it like you say, I can sniff the traffic, but it's only related to my segment very much, or related to whatever, and I cannot be able to see all the traffic.
So
This is why
what you're saying now, say again?
This is why we use, the firepower from Cisco.
Yeah, from Cisco, yeah.
Their appliances where you can see all these things there.
And my thing is to try to get around it. There's things where you could possibly do to try to get around it. I can put these guys on a different switch or a hub, or you want to call it, over here, and then put like a pfSense firewall. If you go here, well, I think that's to show you the network. Here, let me just do something real quick so you can see all three of them. Let me do this, because you really by default have three interfaces or switches that you get from VMware. So you get 0, which basically is like you own the physical network. Host own is like a private network, so only the machines that is on that particular network can talk to each other. And then same thing is here. But the difference between host only and NAT is that NAT allows you to basically route you out to the internet. Host only kind of keeps you between the VMs on this particular switch here. So what I could do to keep that from happening amongst what you were seeing, the traffic and everything, I can create a V2, V3, put each one of these machines on a separate net, VNet, and then basically try to run them that way. That way they're on a different network, and then try to connect them to, like I was doing with GNS3, and connect them that way. But that's making it more complicated than what we need to be to basically prove our point. But there are ways where you can kind of make your virtual environment behave more like a physical environment would behave, everything. But of course, that's beyond the scope of this course. But like I said, you do more virtualization practice and whatever, that's the best way to kind of separate traffic between networks, is just come here, add a network, put different VM nets and stuff on there. And whatever machines that you want to be on its own separate network, then just know that these behave theoretically like a switch, but practically, as we saw the other day, they basically behave like a hub. All right, so this is not necessarily a VMware class, but I love giving out information. So just for our demo here, we're just gonna basically just do a demo as far as our man-in-the-middle attack. As we kind of alluded to throughout the, especially when we're talking about ARP and everything, most of the time, or I would say if you're trying to do it, the easiest way to do a man-in-the-middle attack is, of course, is to do an ARP poisoning or cache poisoning and everything. So you want to make the one machine believe that your machine is basically something else. And basically that's going to happen pretty much at the MAC level. But the good thing is for us is in relation to for what we're doing is basically you can see that action in Wireshark. You can see, of course, we're going to see it in real time, but you also can see it after the fact. You can see where one computer started out, or one IP address started as one IP address. As one IP address started at one MAC address, and then that same IP address end up having another MAC address and everything. So we're going to look at that. So the first thing we're going to do is, of course, we're going to come here, and I'm not going to start Wireshark just yet because we just want to get some information about our network. So let's just come here and do CMD. Just going to run it as administrator. Not that I need to, but I'm going to do IP config. We're going to do all. All right, so main thing we want to catch here is the MAC address. So we're just going to look at the last four just because it's just easy to remember. So DB33, that is his MAC address. And I'm just do an example first between these two machines here. So let's go here, here. And then we're going to do an IP config. So we can get the MAC address for him. So he's CFFC, CFFC, not CFFC, 6FFC. So between these two machines here, so those are the MAC addresses. Let's clear my cache real quick. So basically nothing there. Then I'm gonna check my cache. Depending on whether or not they talking to each other, they may not see them just yet. So no, I just got the gateway and that, so nothing is in him yet. And we're gonna come here. We're gonna clear the cache. And then we're gonna check him. And if they haven't started talking to each other yet, not in, they haven't started talking to each other, which they have not. So okay, so I'm going to ping him. And what was his IP address? I think he was 20, 29, and then 31. So I could do it either way, don't necessarily matter. So let's ping 192, 168. Okay, let's do one. Was it one? Make sure I'm on the right network.
129, I guess it was.
Okay, yeah, 116, 129. So 116, he was 30. The other one was 31. 119, 131. So 16. Okay, make sure I got him right. I thought he was 131. Maybe he wasn't. Okay, so 192, 168, 16, 131. 182, 168, 119. Is it 119? Must be 116. That's why. Okay. Y'all didn't catch me that time. See, I was trying to test y'all on that one. 116.
I didn't get to my mic fast enough.
All right, now I can ping him. And now I should have him in my thing now. So, yep. So 6FFC. And he should automatically update it too. If he didn't, I just ping him just to be sure. Hey. All right, so these two guys see each other. So we know what their MAC addresses basically are. If you want to see it for yourself, you can basically put it in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to run, since I can see it on both ends, I'm just gonna run it from Cali. Okay, so I'm just gonna run it here. And what I want to do is just catch the pinging action from these two machines. I want to catch so you can see the MAC address in Wireshark. So let's go here, and I'm just going to do the ping again. 16. And I should see that traffic in Cali. So good. Let's just do ICFP. All right. So we saw the traffic. Let me just stop it real quick. And basically, we can do this one here. So our source was Windows 10. So that's him. He was DB33, as we saw over here, up here, or earlier up here. DB, there we go, the DB33, so that's good. So we know that's him talking to, go back up. Yeah, what was this right here? Well, that's the D6, but they kind of, you can see just appended the two on there, but right here, CFLC. So IP address for CFLC is 31, and for 29 is DB33. And that should match up to what we have here. Let's just go to IP just to see it here. So source is source. So we got, so basically everything matches up. So I'm going to pause in the cache of these two, for these two machines, or pause in the cache. I'm going to change it. Whereas when that machine try to ping him again, you're going to see the MAC address is going to change. So basically just come here. I don't care for the new interface too much with this, but just stop that. And what you want to do is you want to come here, then you want to go to host, and then you want to go scan for host. And you're going to find zero host. They found 5. So in this case here, go to my list, see what they found. So they found my gateway, as you see here. Found 29 is DB33, which is what we saw over here. And 31 is CFFC, it's out here. So I'm going to basically pause it to cache, or basically make really target 2 become really going to be looking at me instead of looking at I'll make the server target 2. So let's just click here, and I'm gonna add him. So he's added, and click him, click there, so he's added. So both of them are the 2 that I want to go to. So after I do that, I want to come here. I want to do pausing. Basically, that's good there. And then I'm going to start my scan. So basically, while this is running, I'm basically pausing what these guys actually see. So if since target 2 is basically, you say this my victim, or the one that I'm copying, 131 should change to my MAC address. So let's just see what my MAC address is. So let's go here, and we're going to do a sudo dash I to get into root. And just put in the default password. I'm gonna do ifconfig. And my MAC address is what's my Ethernet right here. So we got 9B67. So you're gonna see the IP address, the IP address to MAC address mapping going to change to this IP address here. So we're basically spoofing now. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna we're just gonna try to ping them again. And let's just ping them. And my Wireshark should be going again. Let me minimize this. Oh, well, first of all, you gotta have it running first. Okay, so let's run it. Let's just go back and then run the ping again. Now he should be catching it. He is. All right, so we will stop it. All right, so you should see my IP address now. See the destination. See 31 is the destination, which is now my IP address. You see that it's not still this anymore. And the good thing about this, like I said, Wireshark will basically can catch that. You can see that within Wireshark. Now another thing, where is my expert infos? See that right there? Duplicate address. So Wireshark could tell you right off the bat. I mean, you see something like that's going on. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to see whether there's any type of cache poisoning, any type of anything where the MAC address basically is holding two well, not MAC address, but IP addresses having two MAC addresses. That'll show up here. Which that's basically what it's telling you here. So that's basically pausing the cache. So we can go in here. Let's close this. Let's stop this here. Now we can come in here. Let's go to my cache. And let's say, you see what happened here? See this IP address. Well, this MAC address have two IP addresses. That is a no-go. That should not happen. So from there, now this is just from server, that was just that server. Now say that server is, remember my example I gave before, I mean, say somebody do get smart or whatever and say, well, they do some type of MAC filtering or whatever. I mean, that's no biggie. I can basically, well, MAC filtering, you probably would catch that as far as MAC filtering, but as far as if I want to say, I want basically the traffic that you will be sending to this server, say it is an actual DHCP server or whatever, and I want you sending stuff to me, I could stand up a DHCP server and you'll be still basically, or say I'm a DNS server, that's probably a better example. I'm a DNS server. You can basically just start communicating with me instead of communicating with the server. So in this situation here, this computer, my Windows 10 machine, think it's communicating with the Windows Server 2016 machine, but it's actually communicating with me, as you saw on our example over here. Now we're going to do the next phase for the man in the middle. We're going to do something that's a little bit more sinister than that, in the sense of was stopped already. And we're going to go back to add a cap. And let me just, so we can just, I'm going to close this and then open it back up. All right, I should have stopped it. It should have stopped on its own. Hopefully it stopped on its own. Okay, so let's do this. So we go back here, go back to the cap. I want to basically start the process over. Let me just open up Cali. The default. The default for when you download the first, when you get the VM from Offensive Security, the username and password is Cali and everything. So if you're trying to get into root, using the type of root type of authentication, unless you change it, like I said, this is just really for practice and everything. So this is fine. So just keep that here. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna come back, since I stopped the sniffing, I'm gonna go ahead and clear my cache. All right, and then I'm gonna make sure that that ugliness is gone. All right, so we're back to where we were. And we're gonna come back here. Make sure he don't have that ugliness in him. Hopefully he didn't get that craziness from earlier. Let's see if he did or not. And he did not, so that's good. So, but we're gonna still clear him anyway, just to be sure. So that's good. Clear him out and make sure that he's empty. All right, so good. So basically right now, so they back fresh. All the poisoning and stuff is basically gone. I am going to, this time, this is my gateway right here. So I'm going to ping it so we can see the IP address for it. So we're going to ping 192, 168, 116, and 2. Definitely should be able to ping him. And he was already in the cache anyway, but I'm just, well, did not create the traffic. Let me come back here. Let's get the traffic going. And we definitely just want RCMP. So no RCMP is going right now. We just want to run this again. RCMP. So now I should be getting that traffic now. So that's good. We're going to stop it for right now. And go back here. So it's already stopped. So we can just do mine. We already saw it from earlier, but we'll just look at it again just for verification. So let's do ARP. A. All right, so we see that 2 IP address is, meaning MAC address is AA55. Well, that's very easy to remember there. And we just should see the destination is AA55. Great. So we're going to go ahead, snap him over. And then we got him back up. And then what you're going to do here is, of course, this just gets me into it so you can stop it because I don't want it running right now. So what I have to do, still go back like we did with the ARP poisoning, go to my host, scan for hosts. As we saw earlier, we did see my gateway from earlier. Found only 4 hosts this time, but hopefully we got our gateway. Still, I don't know what host that got dropped off, but we still got my gateway. So we're gonna make 10 machine because he's the one that's basically talking. So let's see, 33 DB33. And then the machine that I want to pretend to be is this guy here. So both of them added. Okay, so that's good. And then what I want to do is come here. Oh, not there. I want to go to, and this time I want to go to, where's what my, no, where I want to go to my, of course I'm going to pause in the ARP. And I want to say, okay, so that's fine there. But I also want to go to my plugins, and then I want to manage plugins. And I want to find a remote, I want to find my web remote browser. There we go. So we're going to click on that. So I'm basically acting as a browser for this particular guy and everything. So basically got my ARP poisoning going on, and I'm basically going to sit and basically pretend to be the router. So go ahead and start my sniffing. So it's basically going through. Now, right now, I'm gonna do 2 things here. One, I'm going to ping him again. So let me get my traffic going again first. All right, so start my traffic without saving. And then we're gonna go back here and then we're gonna ping him again. All right, so still basically have them, but we're gonna look at our MAC address. MAC address, so let's go to him. And we should see MAC address destination. See, it changed back to me. So right now, Windows 10 think it is talking to me, which basically should be, which is the router. My browser plugin basically allows me to basically be the routing function. So, but to prove that, what I can do is I should be able to still go to the internet. So just come here, let's go here. And for all intents and purposes, so still going to the internet. So well, I just type in Google just for boo boos and grins, or whatever site you want to go to. We can do Wireshark, that's fine. It don't matter any site you want to go to. Should be able to go to it just fine. So right now I'm in my Kali machine is in the middle of this. So Windows 10, think it's talking to really, if you're looking at VMware, VMware has its own routing function. It has its own routing function, DHCP function. So basically allow you to go back and forth from the internet. For the most part, your NIC card is, you could say, is a de facto router, and basically is providing port address translation for your virtual machine to go back and forth. But right now I'm mimicking that particular function. So you're basically really going through me. So for the most part, so you're basically going back and forth. Let's look at some HTTP traffic and see, because you're still getting everything from Google, you still going through me and everything. Now remember when we was looking at the MAC addresses, and when I said when you go out and come back in, your destination is going to be your gateway, which is the MAC address of me. You're not going to see the MAC address of your destination. You're going to see the MAC address of your gateway, which basically I am pretending to be me. But I am able to, everything that you sending through here, I am able to see. So the thing is, and as you saw, I mean, what that took us, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to basically do, and everything, no skill, really not required. Just more or less know how to use AirCap, and basically somebody can set up my man in the middle in your environment. But for you and for the purpose of this class and everything, like I said before, you can easily catch that. You can easily find that because you see what expert info does for you. So you come in, and I just saw that I got a duplicate ACK in here, and that's more or less, it's just so that's more or less this guy doing double duty. He's taking information and then he's sending it back out. You should see that here too. So that's Google or Wireshark sending it to me, and then me basically going through whatever. So it's coming to me twice, and then I'm basically going to turn around and send it back to you. Which so I hear, so you send the double traffic basically. That's why you see this is the Windows 10 machine. So he's going out, going through me, going basically for the most part, I'm performing double duty because I'm getting traffic from I guess you could say the victim, because they don't know what he's basically, well, I guess I got two victims, but it's coming to me, I'm getting information, and then I'm sending it out to the destination. Then the destination is sending it back to me, I'm taking it, and then I'm sending it to the person that basically made the request. So that's why you see this like double response, you see this double traffic that you see right here. And as far as like the double acts and stuff that you're seeing right here, that's because of the man in the middle. So what you want to take from this is that when you see this type of stuff, you can pretty much guess, something fishy going on. I see some, let's just see the IP where we saw the duplicate IP. It should be in here somewhere. No response. We shouldn't have missed that. We should have saw what they had. When we looked at the packet before, where it had the double IP address. There we go, duplicate IP address. So you should see this. Now, as you see, it says it's on here as a warning, meaning that it may not be bad, but like I said, if you always in a state of suspicion, this is bad, but this may as well be black as far as I'm concerned. And until I could be proven otherwise, this is bad. So somebody should basically be telling me, I should see somewhere where maybe it was just a glitch in the matrix or whatever. But for the most part, you want to look at this, and you should go in and you want to drill down to see what happened here. If you see something in your environment, whereas you got one MAC address that's basically having two IP addresses, you want to go and find out what machine is that. Why did that happen? You know what I'm saying? Because it could be that, that MAC address may have lost its lease to IP address and maybe got an IP address. And along the way, for whatever reason, in the glitch or whatever, saw they had two IP addresses. Now, it shouldn't necessarily show anything that shouldn't throw in up red flags, because you should have traffic in there that basically, when we went through our DORA process. So you should see, whereas he made a request to basically come in to either renew or basically get another IP address. So another thing that you can do, if you do see this, like I said, you should not see that unless it's something nefarious or potentially nefarious. But what you can do is that check out DHCP. Why did he get another IP address? If he got another IP address because of DHCP, that should show up here. So we come up in here and we can let's just do this. Let's just put this back up. Let's go back here. And who did he say got the IP address? So this guy here. So 2. So we can just look at 2. Had what you call them, or we can go with 29. So let's go back here. DHCP, we can do a filter for that. So let's just say we do the IP addresses normally are easier, but to do because I have to sit there and try to remember everything. Get every IP, ADDR, equal, and we'll look at 2 since 2 was one of the first ones that we saw. IP address, so we do 192, 168. Now, of course, like I said, you can look at MAC address, but this is just easier for me to remember. Oh, not 1. We'll look at 2. No, it's 116, 2, my bad. 116, 2. And so, and then I do and wrong thing here. My eyes failing me. Let's say DHCP, HCP, and then we go here. No DORA process. So why another IP address was issued for this? Why was this IP address issued to somebody else? Shouldn't have happened. No traffic happened for that process. So there's no reason for a MAC address, and looking at what I have here, for that MAC address to have had one IP address, which let's see what his IP address actually is. Let's go back to our terminal. Let's put it up here. And let's do sudo again. Sudo -i. And Cali is my password. And let's do ifconfig. And he's supposed to be 130. So why did 130? Why did this MAC address here, not that one, that's the V6. So why did this MAC address here all of a sudden go from 130 to 2? And like I said, a quick way for you to just ease your suspicion or prove your suspicion. One thing, of course, Inspire X will give you a quick glance at what's basically possibly going on here. And like I said, it could be a legitimate reason for this MAC address to have, or this particular IP address to have 2 different MACs. It may have released the IP address and another MAC address got it. I mean, chances are that didn't necessarily happen, but you want to proof it. So a good way to do it is that in order for IP address to basically be issued out, be DHCP. Now, of course, it could be static IP address. But the thing is that no one thing you do is going to give you all the answers. Sometimes it will, or sometimes it'll solidify what you already think. But at the very least, it's going to basically get you a step closer whereas I could say it didn't legitimately get an IP address from DHCP just by doing this right here. So any questions, comments, or anything you want to add on as far as that is concerned? All right, so we're looking at 1126. I guess we can start on the PCAP thing. That's going to take a little bit, but it's what I'm going to show in the PCAP is it's going to be a lot of what you just saw here as far as the analysis and everything. I just really want to just show you the real time effect of this. So let's and basically after someone have basically I stop this. I'm still running, so I'm still basically in the middle. Now if I stop this, so I'm no longer sniffing. Now that's gonna break, that should break my internet. So let's try Google this time. Google. So he's not gonna be able to get to it. And the reason why is because he still see me in his cache as what you call. So let's do art dash A and 2. So he's still seeing me as, but I'm no longer running because I done stopped my service. I'm no longer providing routing services for this guy. And then for you, this is a good, so this is another good clue for you also. As you see, why is this, do I do this MAC address have 2 IP addresses? Why do I see him in those 2 IP addresses? So the thing is that even though it can be stealthy in a sense where you could, something like that can happen and you not know what's going on, if you basically dig a little deeper, you could easily sniff out a man-in-the-middle attack. And I would say this is more something more worse, and I would say probably for inside somebody already have access to your network. This would be something to be worrisome about. Or if if I'm able to remote into your network and put in say a tool or a tool inside of your environment where I can create or do something man-in-the-middle attack. Now, of course, I mean, we took more of the easy route, was using Kali, using Ettercap and everything. But what this should basically do is kind of do 2 things for you, or make you think about port security in your environment, making sure people can't just come in and plug in anything into your environment. USB security, making sure nobody can just walk into your environment and plug in a live Kali setup. Because think about it now, if I come in with a live USB with Kali on it, where I got all the tools I need to do what I need to do to set up a man-in-the-middle attack, come in, do some mapping of your network. Chances are, if it's my gateway, chances are it's your gateway. So I can come in, if I get an IP address, if you even allow me to automatically get an IP address, that's a lot of information I'm going to get in order for me to basically do this. And like I said, whoever's doing the talking, doing the most talking, like I said, your gateway, your DNS servers, your DHCP servers, those guys doing a lot of talking. There's a lot of broadcast information those guys are sending out for everybody to basically see. So if I get onto your network, and especially you're not doing any type of MAC filtering, anything like that, then, or any type of, you don't have any type of NAC systems in your environment, whereas an IP, I mean not IP, just about OS just so happen to pop up in your environment, that particular machine should automatically go into the quarantine zone. It should not just be able to get an IP address and then start being able to talk on your network. Because if it can, trouble. Especially just think about live CDs, live Linux. You could do a lot. You could do a bootable USB with Linux on it. I come into any computer, shut that computer down, let it boot up into my Linux machine, and then I have access to all of these tools. So then it's just sitting there, and I can just do whatever I basically I want and everything. Because yeah, your machine may have admin rights on it where I can't do anything like this, but you don't have admin rights on my my live Kali. You don't have anything on that. Now, if you don't have any network level or IDS, IPS, something that's warning you that, hey, another machine has just joined your network. If you don't have that type of monitoring going on your network, I could just sit there and just basically just go to town. And as you see, it's not that hard of one hard to do at all. I mean, I put in a few simple commands as far as not IP config, IF config, and that was really pretty much it. So basically, to clear this up, I need to clear my cache. Oh, go back here. So let's clear my cache. And another thing about your cache also is that, I mean, after you restart, after so many seconds, I mean, after a certain amount of time, it'll clear itself. But if you want to force it, of course, you do this. So let's not do ARP A. I need a space there. Let's see if I got it back. I have not. So let's just ping them real quick so I can get them back in my cache. And do this 116.2. So he should be back with his normal one now because I didn't release him, let him go back to do what he want to do. And now I should have him back in there like as he was. Yep. So he's back at AA55. And now I can come back here and I should be able to get back on the internet now. So Fairly simple to do. Main thing I wanted you to see there was just, you could see all that stuff happening inside of Wireshark and everything. So we're sitting at 11:32. I really don't want to start on the analysis thing, and with that, it definitely is not enough time to basically do that. So trying to see. Well, let's do this. Let me do this. Let me drop that file inside of Moodle. Let me pull up my file explorer. And let's go to files. That's not in Geek Trak. Geek Trak labs. I have to unzip it. Yep. Oh, you know what? I just put the whole thing in there. So that way you could get the PCAPs too. So I dropped the PCAPs and the demo. So that way if you want to go back later and look at and do the answers yourself, you can do that. So let me do that. Let me go here, go back to Moodle, and we're gonna put this in here. So let me just add a resource file. I don't like to get too creative, so I'm just gonna copy what I have here. So let's copy, minimize, we're gonna name it that. We're gonna do file, choose file, go here, save it as that. That's good. Upload. All right, good. And just so you can go into a pop-up, so you can download it. All right, so that should be in Moodle now. So what I would say do right now is download that to your computers. Like I said, since you'll be watching me, you probably if you got access to a printer right now, you probably just want to print out the document and everything. And what I'm gonna do is just go through like some of the questions. It's gonna ask you questions. I can just open it up so you can see it right now. Go here. Let's go right here. And drop down here. So let's pull this up. All right, so it's gonna go through, and for the most part, kind of gonna have you walk through these things as far as kind of put you in a mindset as far as dealing with trying to figure out what's going on with inside your environment, so the PCAP. So inside that zip file, you're gonna have a PCAP named VM1 and a PCAP named P2 PCAP and everything. And all I'm gonna do is just, as I go through these, let's go through them. Just we kind of seen some of it, especially dealing with the MAC addresses and stuff, but just gonna go through as far as the answer, because I wanted you to see it done live, and then I also want you to just see a pre-made, because this is more likely the way that you're going to get this type of traffic. It's going to happen. Somebody's going to save the capture or the trace, bring it to you, and then hopefully this will kind of help you kind of think along the lines of watching what's going on. In this particular case, still tempo attack that I just did earlier and everything, but just wanted to see as far as give you the line of a set of questions and stuff that you want to be looking at as far as this is concerned. So Mike, are you here? I don't want to get started and we don't necessarily
Yes.
finish.
Yes.
Probably going to take an early lunch and everything.
Did you stand by 1 second? I'm gonna put something in the chat for everybody.
All right.
I need everybody to kind of look at this. Stand by
Hey,
1
DJ,
second.
Yeah.
Can you send me the link to the environment again? When I did my restart, I don't have it.
To
the
machine?
Virtual, yeah, to the machine, yes.
Oh, okay, to the machine. Okay, so you need your internet ID?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
You gotta stand by 1 second.
All right, so I need this. All right. Oh, Geek Trak and remote. All right, so this is Thomas. Copy. All right, I'm gonna put it in the chat for you.
Can everybody see that? What I just put in the chat?
Mhm. Okay, so we close to 11:50. So okay, that's
Yeah.
good.
So I had to put that in there because he's sitting right across from me.
Okay, so I mean, so we can sit. We got 12 minutes, so y'all can just look around and everything. So 11:50, we'll do that, and then after that, we'll do lunch.
I'm
And
gonna
be
go ahead and, excuse me, DJ, I'm gonna go ahead and put the link in the chat in just a few seconds.
okay.
So just kind of log out of this one, log into the LG, do that, and then you guys can come log out of there and come back here, okay? So stand by.
Okay. And Thomas, I dropped the ID in there for you.
Hold on.
Hey, Mike, I have the link right here. Do you want me to share it?
Yeah, if you got it, that'd be great.
Of
Thank
course.
you. Thank you. That'd be awesome. Just that he's not sitting right across from me, so I had to talk very low.
I know, no, I understand. And this is going to be in the CGCIO
Yes.
CIO track, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
There is that link.
All right. Can everybody see that link? Give me a thumbs up if you guys can see it. Fantastic. Okay.
And
So,
I'll hang out here as the host so the meeting doesn't close.
yes.
And
yes,
then you
kinda
guys
keep
can
it
come,
open
we'll be able
and
to
come
join.
back. Yeah, I forgot we got to keep this portal open. So thank you, Annalise, for being alert with that. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Okay. We want these 7 voices to sing loud and roar like thunder. See nobody smiling.
I'm gonna step out real quick. We'll be right back. Definitely before 11:50.
Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I just got word that they want us to log in now. So at least I'm gonna have the guys just go ahead and go away from this portal. Go ahead and log into this portal now. Okay. I'm gonna leave this one.